And as we're watching the credits, I see that the character of Margot Lane is not in this movie, so I hope that you as an audience will join me in a celebratory sigh of relief. 1, 2, 3, sigh. So the film opens with Lamont Cranston at his desk, looking at a bullet that apparently took the life of one of his lawyer friends in a very recent case.
I'm sorry I never knew your father, sir.
He was a great lawyer, Henricks. Every racketeer in the country feared him. That's why they got him.
But you're carrying on, sir.
Oh, after a fashion, but... I'd give anything in the world if I could match that bullet.
I'm very glad that this scene is in the movie, because otherwise nothing would be different, and this information would not be in the film and not be taking away from the time we could have been actually having to learn information that was actually important to the plot, because this information never comes back to help in any way. So I'm very glad that it's in the movie. This is called sarcasm, what I'm doing right now. It's all like, I'm saying one thing, but I don't mean it. I mean an entirely different. Just move on. We then cut to two guys breaking into some other lawyer's office in order to try and steal his papers. But Lamont Cranston comes in as the Shadow and wait just a cotton fucking pickin' fucking minute. That's the Shadow? Are you serious? That's the Shadow. And all these years we thought Clark Kent had it bad. Are you? So, Lamont Cranston, this wormy guy with a little tweed mustache there, puts on a hat and a cape, and suddenly nobody recognizes him? Really? Really? He just puts on a hat and cape, and that's it. Hey look, everybody! It's the Shadow! Hello, I'm a totally different guy from that guy who just pointed out that I was standing here. Wow, Shadow, it's sure a good thing that you and I don't look anything alike, nor sound alike, nor even act alike, because then people might think that we're the same person. But that would be just ridiculous now, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. You and I look nothing alike, nor act alike. Isn't it great that we are totally, completely different people who totally don't in any way resemble each other at all? Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. We totally just high-fived there. So anyway, the Shadow comes in with his guns, and the thieves put up their hands, and the Shadow holds them there with his guns, and then the cops show up, and the Shadow leaves, and the cop arrests the crooks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed the world's most lamest way to fight crime in a movie ever made. Give him a round of applause, people. Give him a round of applause. So, Lamont Cranston escaped, but it turns out he went through the wrong door. Instead of exiting out the way that he should have, like through a window or a door or disappearing or anything remotely Shadow-like or superhero-like, he just went into the other room, took off his hat and cape. So, good job. The cops come into the next room and find him there, and so he pretends to be the actual lawyer from the office. Which is a stupid thing to do, but just move on. So the detective decides to ask him a few questions.
Oh, I'm glad you're here, Mr. Randall. I have a few questions I want to ask. Did you form headquarters? Yes.
Well, that's all I needed to know. Bye-bye! I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this guy. So the thin guy from Laurel and Hardy, I never remember which one's which. I think the thin guy's Hardy, maybe? I'm gonna guess that. So Hardy is apparently a British guy in the employ of Lamont Cranston as a butler. He has a British comedy relief butler.
All right, got that.
Don't shoot, sir. Don't shoot.
This place is full of burglars.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Captain. That nervous individual happens to be on my side.
Oh, I see.
May I relax, sir?
Yes, all right.
Dozens and dozens of characters from the actual Shadow stories. Shrevey, Margot Lane, Commissioner Weston, all of the different agents in the actual magazines that the Shadow had. Like, the Shadow had a whole network of agents working throughout the city. That guy that he saved from committing suicide. All these characters, and you have to write a completely different character as a British butler. Batman didn't even have Alfred at this point. And you guys are ripping him off poorly even before he's created. Good job. Good job. So anyway, as Lamont Cranston is pretending to be this lawyer, he gets called up on the phone by someone who employs this lawyer, asking him to go to their house. Now, of course, he wouldn't usually go there. He would just, pacify the guy on the phone, hang up, and then leave, because he doesn't want to be caught up in this deception any longer than he has to, because then that could lead to some pretty bad subplots further down the line. However, because this is a really, really stupid movie, Commissioner Weston, or whoever this police character guy is, decides to go with him to the house of whoever it is who just called him for no reason whatsoever. And you may think that I'm being ridiculous, because of course they must have written some reason for him to follow him to that place. But there is no reason, because as soon as they arrive there, the cop's like, well, see you later, and then goes away. And they took a cab. I mean, like, the cops must have driven to that building in their cop cars, but the guy says, you guys take the cop cars, I'm going to drive in the cab with this guy to the place where he's going, which is in the other, I think they actually do establish that it's in the other direction from police headquarters, and then drive back to police headquarters afterwards. I mean, it's, the police, the guy has no reason to suspect that Lamont Cranston is a different guy from the lawyer. He doesn't, there's nothing to indicate that Lamont Cranston is acting suspiciously or anything like that. And anyway, he's the Shadow, so he should be used to taking on other personas by now. So, there's no reason other than to force Lamont Cranston to have to go to the house. It's lazy writing 101 here, people. So anyway, the guy at the house asks Lamont Cranston, thinking that he's the lawyer, to help him rewrite his will.
I guess you think I'm eccentric. Maybe I am. But I wanted one member of my family, the eldest, to be head of the Deltons.
When you have a new will written, I suppose it's my advice you want.
Yes.
It would be better to specifically name your heirs and the amount that goes to each, instead of merely stating, to my eldest surviving heir, I leave half of my estate.
That's what I want to do, Mr. Wren.
Fine. Well, and if you'll stop in at the office about 10 in the morning, we can...
That may be too late.
I don't understand.
I've never been a man to let my imagination get the better of me, but I have a feeling that my life is in jeopardy.
Who is Winstead Comstock?
He's my nephew. He's about 35.
35.
The eldest of the lot.
And Humphrey Comstock?
Humphrey is his younger brother.
Now, Marcia and Jasper Delphin, are they your children?
No, I never had any children. They were my brothers. He and my sister were killed in an accident 5 years ago.
All right, I think I see your problem now. The people in your family have really stupid names.
I want a clause written that Marcia is to be completely disinherited if she marries Warren.
She will be cut out of your will if she marries Warren. Got it. Anything? Oh, he's dead. When did that happen? So another thing you may have noticed about this film is that it is completely devoid of music. And this is not an abnormal thing for a 1930s film. We were just coming out of the silent movie era at this point. So the idea of having actual heard dialogue in the film was already a huge achievement. Music was going to come in the years to follow. Of course, it doesn't help that every single actor in this film seems to be just sleepwalking through it. Like, I've seen films from this era where they had actors who had just come out of silent film acting and they're really acting over the top.
Oh, stealing through my body, creeping through my veins, pouring in my blood. Oh, darts of fire in my brain.
And that was bad, but at least it wasn't sleep-inducing. These guys are just sort of walking around like Lamont Cranston's voice in this film never breaks its tempo.
Mr. Delphin's been shot.
You do it, sir?
Well, no, certainly not.
Well, let's get back before you become involved, sir.
That's precisely what I intend to do. Perhaps it'd be a good idea to pick up Mr. Randall's brief.
The modulation in his voice never changes. He just keeps going over the same few notes over and over and over again. And when you're acting in a film, this is very bad, because you just end up losing the audience's attention, because you're just talking like this over and over again. And it's like, it's terrible. It's just terrible. No one in this film ever has a really strong emotion. It's just, By this point, I'm so bored with this film, and I haven't heard nearly any of the dialogue up to this point. I've been sort of guessing at what's going on, so I'm already pretty lost as to what's going on in the plot. I know that that guy is dead, and I know that they think that one of the people in his family killed him, and I know that this guy is in his family, and they like found him walking around outside, and now he's come in, and they're threatening, and they're questioning him.
Winston!
We found him roaming around outside.
I'm sure there's been some mistake, officer.
Marcia, who are all these men?
Please explain where you've been. I said, where have you been?
Oh, out walking, what?
Where's your hat? I presume you wear one.
Oh, yes, I left it at the cinema, the Palace Cinema.
The show has been over for 2 hours. Where have you been since then?
I don't remember. Walking around.
You didn't stop anywhere where we could check up on your story.
No.
Of course you're aware of the contents of your late uncle's will.
No.
That's a lie, Winstead. Why, he told us about it only a few days ago.
See here, young man, are you arguing with me? Do you realize that...
I beg your pardon. You seem to have all the matches. May I have a light?
No. No, of course not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, take him in, Kelly.
So now we're in a gambling house where I think another one of the members of the family has been gambling. I think this is one of the members of the family right here. The guy's joking with it. And there's like this big crime boss who runs the whole thing. And I think that it was his thugs who were breaking into the lawyer's office at the beginning. I don't know why. But he's complaining about the new scourge of the underworld, the Shadow.
What's on your mind?
I just talked with Red and Steve.
It's about time they showed up. Where are they?
In the tank. The cops picked them up at Randall's office.
What happened?
The Shadow stepped in.
I'd just like to know who he is.
Oh, yeah, the Shadow. I wonder who he is. I mean, we could never figure that out, except, I don't know, if we tried maybe looking at his face.
Mr. Ross is a very popular man, sir. He's even wanted in China.
Yes. The clever Chester Randall will never get him. These affidavits won't help much.
Oh, Lamont Cranston in this movie is such a slimy git. This isn't a movie about the Shadow. This is a movie about this wormy guy with a stupid mustache putzing around for an hour.